This episode is brought to you by Carter v. Boehm, 250th Anniversary Conference on Utmost Good Faith and Insurance photo book. Click the link in the description to order your copy now. Hi there, I'm Andrew and I make movie pictures for a living. I've made stuff for TV, I've made stuff for sporting events, I've made stuff for major events as well. But now I make videos about insurance. You see, I never thought I'd have anything to do with insurance, mainly because I know nothing about it. But the good folks here at LMI decided that I should make videos for them. And you know what? I like it. I like it a lot. But a lot of people that I talk to don't understand why I do. Don't you just stare at spreadsheets all day? No. So I've decided to show you some of the experiences that insurance has afforded me. So I grabbed anything that records an image and I took it on an adventure. This is where insurance takes me. Indonesia, a mixture of beautiful scenery, friendly people, and crazy driving. But what am I doing here? Well, something happened that changed the course of insurance history, and it happened right here. But before we get into that, since this is my first trip overseas, let's start at the beginning. The idea behind bringing me on this trip is to document it. Problem with that is I'm not quite sure what the locations look like, how protected my gear will be, or pretty much any detail whatsoever about what I have to capture. On top of that, I've never had a weight limit on a shoot before, so I promptly ignored that weight limit and packed as much as humanly possible into 2 little bags. Once I was all packed, it was straight to Tullamarine to meet up with the others. Then an 8-hour flight to Jakarta. Getting off the plane in Indonesia was a shock. The humidity made it feel like I had just opened an oven door. After grabbing some food, we stayed at the airport hotel to make our early flight to Bengkulu the next day. All packed. Now I need to search for breakfast and Wi-Fi. Once we had gathered all of our things, we took a shuttle to the domestic terminal, which was like quadruple the size of the international one. Their domestic terminal is much more impressive than the international one. Then, after a short flight with a very rough landing, we were finally in Bengkulu, Indonesia. Oh, yes. Alright, hotel number 2. I'm gonna show you around this one. It looks very clean, mainly because I haven't been here for very long. See, this is what happens when you leave me places. I mess it up. Anyway, check it. Everything has been raining so hard. But how is it still hot and wet? Anyway, alright, I'm fed, enough screwing around. It is work time. Media dude's uniform is all black in a country that's so freaking hot. Now I actually didn't know this part was gonna happen. We got settled in the hotel, and then afterwards we went downstairs and hopped in a bus. Now this bus took us to an orphanage. Now I've never been to an orphanage before in Australia, let alone in Indonesia, so I didn't know what to expect. These kids, some of them blind, some of them with Down syndrome, all of them extremely poor. It was hard to sit there with a $4,000 camera documenting the experience when the $10 soccer ball that we gave them, we were told, was the first one that the orphanage had ever had.
This is for the children here, so there's not one for all. So I'll just put them on the floor because otherwise you'll be checking too much. So then you can
At the end of the day, I'm going to sleep. I'm so tired. I'll see you tomorrow. because that significant insurance event that I alluded to earlier on happened in Bengkulu, there was a conference to be had, with various members of the Indonesian government and important people from the insurance industry. It was my job to point a camera at it and make sure it was all recorded. After all was said and done with the conference, we then set about a tour of Bengkulu. I'm still gonna hit it, I guarantee you. Sukarno House, located in central Bengkulu, was the home of the first president of Indonesia, who was exiled there in February 1938. Now, long after President Sukarno has gone, it stands as a museum and tourist attraction. After Sukarno House, it was back on the bus through the Indonesian back roads, past villages and swiftlet nests. Okay, so the British East India Trading Company traded throughout the 16 and 1700s throughout the New World and was pretty much a law unto itself. It had its own armies, forts, etc. to defend itself from foreign and domestic enemies. So they actually had a base in Bengkulu, Indonesia, because they farmed pepper there. Now this base had a fort called Fort Marlborough, and the big cheese at Fort Marlborough was a dude called Mr. Carter. Now Mr. Carter took out an insurance policy with a dude named Mr. Boehm against the fort being taken over by a foreign enemy. So the French attacked and Mr. Boehm refused to pay. Mr. Carter sued. A witness called Captain Tryon testified that Mr. Carter knew that the fort was built to withstand domestic attack and not foreign, and the French were likely to attack. Now it was eventually decided that Mr. Carter was in the right and Mr. Boehm should have known that there was a risk that the French were going to attack because of the well-publicized political feud. Now why is this all important? Well, that's easy. Burma fide. Fides. Utmost good faith. Utmost good faith means to deal in good faith. So, the insured needs to reveal all of the risks and everything associated with them, and the insurer needs to make sure that the contract fits the needs of the insured. Pretty simple, right? Anyway, enough history. Let's get back to the action. We were greeted like celebrities there. Traditional Indonesian drummers formed a guard of honor as our party walked the bridge. As you enter, you are greeted by the aged battlements and the courtyard of the fort. Big thing I noticed here is that there wasn't a single barrier. You could climb all over the fort without anything getting in the way. The drummers continued to perform once our group had entered, doing backflips, guttural screams, and other crazy stuff. They then ran out into the audience and let some of us give it a go. I was busy running around grabbing photos from the fort. Here are just a few. The next day, we headed about an hour into Indonesia's jungle to Kemumu Forest. The Indonesian countryside is beautiful. It's a shade of green rarely seen in Australia. thick jungle is only broken by rivers or small clearings for houses. We got off the bus and descended some stairs to the main attraction, the waterfall. So rarely do you get to see anything so raw and unmodified by humans. I hopped from rock to rock trying to get the best shot I possibly could. At the time, it seemed like a wonderful idea, but I can see why my boss may have been a little on the nervous side. I'd like to think my shots were worth it though. Home time! The last day, most of the delegates had packed up and headed for the airport, but our group had a later flight, and there was still a driver assigned to the group for the day. So, after packing, you bet we took advantage of that. We asked the driver to take us to some of the best locations in Bengkulu, so that's just what he did.
Merry-go-round. No, wait, Ferris wheels.
Satu, dua, tiga.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was a seriously good experience, and one I'll never forget. Not the tourist chic Indonesia, but the real Indonesia. Now, I couldn't have possibly afforded this experience on my own. The only reason I'm here is because of insurance. A far cry from those spreadsheets, right? Thank you so much for watching the vlog. Now don't forget to get your copy of the Carter v. Boehm photo book from this trip, or any other books from LMI Publications, including our children's book, What's Insurance? All publications are available from the link below. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.